So if you're here today, I'm sure that you're wondering how you can get accepted from an Ivy League school like Cornell. Today, I'm going to be reading through my letter of continued interest to Cornell as I ED'd there and got deferred to the regular decision applicant pool. And I hope that this just helps you in writing your letter to whatever dream school that you might have gotten deferred from. And also, even if you don't end up at the place that you wanted to see yourself go, it's all for a reason. I know it's a super stressful process, but truly the experience that you make of it at your school, wherever you're meant to be, is going to be the best if you really see yourself there and just not be barred from thinking about what could have been at another school. When I was applying, my decision-making process was because I wanted to get into the ILR school and I wanted to keep the door open for law. I applied ED, and I think the decision came out around December 13th. Some people don't really get the decision that they would have liked to hear, but that was me as well. In my senior year, I opened it and I was a little confused at what I was reading. Then I took a lot of time to just reorient my experiences, and I felt as if my entire application through the Common App wasn't indicative of the kind of student I am. So through my letter of continued interest, I was able to reiterate some of the experiences that I've had and the times that I've led a group or a team in doing something. In my letter, I definitely wanted to be a bit more aggressive and straightforward about what I was doing from that point on, from December. Mr. Sean Felton, I am writing to reaffirm my strong interest and dedication to my future at Cornell. I would be elated to attend if admitted because the ILR school encompasses branches of study that intrigue me in one program, which I have yet to find elsewhere. Thus, I would like to continue to update you on my recent activities and pieces of information I did not previously include in my application. I'm currently preparing for Glenbrook Symphony Orchestra's concerto competition, for which I received honorable mention last year. Orchestra has been a significant area for me to realize my potential throughout high school. Therefore, I continue to invest myself in this talented group. For my school's variety show, I played in the pit orchestra as a freshman and sophomore and plan to play for my last show this February. I also plan to play in the pit orchestra for the Glenbrook musical Shrek this spring. I'm excited to spend my nights playing in the pit as the culmination of my dedication to the fine arts program. Hurricane Ida, Category 4, impaired 8 states and caused at least 82 deaths this summer. The news painted devastation on the faces of those who lost homes and family members. In response, as vice president on the Student Association Executive Board, I led a week-long initiative in October to fundraise for those afflicted whilst campaigning for solidarity in my community. To maximize our scope, we partnered with our rival school, Glenbrook South, to plan Gold Rush, the Glenbrooks Give Back. Raffles were held, local businesses donated in collaboration, and a joint pep rally and halftime show featured performance groups from both schools. Ultimately, the Glenbrooks raised just under $5,000. As managing editor, I track all editors' deadlines and help wherever I can. Each issue of the paper includes approximately 20 articles, and I spend an average of 40 minutes commenting on each one, which means 800 minutes. Multiple drafts of each article mean 2,400 minutes or 40 hours. Still, this does not include class time, lunches, or nights I spend at school working with editors. I'm wholly dedicated to helping every writer achieve their full potential. Meanwhile, I strive to improve on my own journalistic skills, to exemplify what I preach. So I pitch story ideas and write articles, though my role does not require it. In all of my activities, I work outside of view. Pit orchestra, hidden from the audience's view, exists to accompany the act on stage. The general student body does not see the planning, setup, or cleanup of school-wide events. Outside of the publication room, most do not know that editors create the pages of the newspaper from scratch, requiring meticulous placement of each headline, graphic, and text. But that is precisely what I love about my role in these communities. It has never been about the recognition, but the product, which for me is the impact on students, staff, and town members. What continuously motivates me is being able to leave a positive impact on the lives of people around me. My orchestra director asked me to help with recruitment for next year, an honor and opportunity to influence young musicians. For my flute studio outside of school, I taught younger students how to make video recordings for auditions and competitions during the pandemic. On the last day of school before winter break, I stayed after the last bell to help janitorial staff take down holiday decorations. In February, I'll be intensively planning ways to get the school heavily involved in the annual food drive. Through my activities and actions, whether big or small, I take pride in connecting with my community. I hope my future community resides at Cornell. Research indicates that a third of life is spent at work, excluding years of education that prepares students to work. To study the labor that runs the world through lenses of history, law, economics, and globalization as an ILRE would supply me with an impassioned education and boundless opportunities. Thank you for your further consideration of my application. Sincerely, Rachel Cha. Different parts of my letter just reiterate my commitment to the extracurriculars that I'm a part of at school and why I'm committed to them. So first, I think the biggest thing was my involvement in orchestra, student government, and then newspaper. Those were my three biggest extracurriculars in high school. And I was kind of talking about my leadership positions in all three in my senior year, because when you apply to colleges with your Common App, because you do that all at the beginning of the year, and especially if you did that before November 1st for the ED deadline, you're not really talking about the experiences or activities that you did in your fall semester. So in December and January, when I was drafting this letter, I was really taking into account what I had done that semester as a first semester senior, and how that really shows my commitment to these extracurriculars outside of just being leadership oriented and just because I wanted that title, but because I was actually committed to these organizations at my high school. And I also believe that especially my part about the minutes that I spent editing and commenting on writers' articles through my newspaper was something that I would normally never do to quantify the number of minutes, but I think that is one of the ways that I was being aggressive with how I'm really showing how much time I'm putting into these extracurriculars and how much they matter to me. And basically at the end, I'm just tying that all together by saying that in all my organizations, I really work outside of you. In music, especially if you're in pit orchestra, you're not seen at all because you're under the stage. And newspaper, a lot of people don't really know how much work goes into that. And also just planning events and school activities is something that a lot of the student body and staff don't visibly see. So in all of these roles, I think I was able to find one thing that was common between them and really emphasize that in my letter. And at the end, I really just tied it back to how I see labor as an important factor in how the world functions is something that I think really tied it back to why I want to be in the ILR school. I hope that some of these tips helped, and just remember again that you'll end up somewhere that is really going to be the best fit for you, and you might not know it now, and you might not know it even in your first 2 semesters of college, but I hope that you guys have the best luck in the college application process. I know it's really stressful, and just remember not to compare yourself to other people, because you really never know how someone else might have gotten to college or gotten to where they are. So try not to compare yourself to other people's journeys and just take it one step at a time. It really works out in the end.